Hello fellow sim racers and welcome to this video. Me and my community made a special event with the most hot possible conditions in Assetto Corsa Competizione. And I would love to share this story with you because, well, it was experience. The track was literally on fire. 50 degrees Celsius ambient conditions and 64 degree track is the hottest conditions I have seen in this game, and it's probably the hottest you can actually set the game. But we made it even harder for ourselves. 2-hour race with only one set of tires. If you get a puncture, you either DNF or change for wets. So this is how it went. Start of the race was actually really nicely mixed because about 12 people did the quali on the dry tires and the rest did the qualification on the wets. It's because we had only one set of dry tires, so everybody was just mixing up and trying to save the tires as much as possible. The race start was actually really clean. Everybody from the 60 car grid was really careful, except the poor guy in front of us going to the Make-Its Beckets. Well, rip his tires, am I right? Rip his tires into our race in these conditions. He probably got a puncture on the second lap or something. I started on P19 right with my friend Gregor, and we were having a rockishly super good fight since the beginning of the race. It was very clean, very careful, but we were not giving each other too much space. Gregor is driving in a car number 44 Bentley. Make sure to remember him because he's gonna be important in this race. We were really working together, we swapped positions several times, and overall we were working together through the field. Well, some people made it easier for us, like these two guys spinning. You really don't want to spin in a 2-hour race on one set of tires in extreme hot conditions, guys. Well, you will find out later in this video. The most important goal for myself I set in this race was to start the first 10 minutes being really careful, you know, don't look up, don't slide too much, just try to preserve the tires as much as possible, even when fighting with the Gregor in the number 44. I was really afraid the Audi will not handle tires very well. From my own experience, when I was racing on Silverstone, in a normal conditions, which is around 20 degrees, let's say, I killed the tires in first 45 minutes, so I was really worried today. We had some really nice good fights going through the field from P19 all the way up the front. As said, Gregor always had like a perfect view for the racing. Me going to the outside, through the first corner, obviously can't work there because at the same time I was trying to preserve the tires. So yeah, just be patient, be patient. Even Gregor was going at me. We were fighting hard and he little bit tapped me there. Was really careful from both of us, but still, man, we wanted to fight, we wanted to go forward. But in the Formula 1 first and second corner, I was just trying to preserve the tires because, as I said, I remember on this track, it just eats the tires, no matter the conditions. Absolutely lovely defending there from the BMW. We were both trying to fight but save the tires a bit, you know. So I just had to, I was like, okay, I have to go for the move. Going from my favorite outside here, then you get the inside for the next corner, squeeze the guy just a little bit and have like a perfect run. Very early in the race, we had our first guy with a puncture on the right rear tire. I don't know how that happened, but right rear tire puncture, not something you really want to have so early into the race. So poor guy with the number 6 Aston Martin was already done. During the time in the first hour, George Budby managed to get up to P2 to fight for the P1, well, basically top 3 positions, and he made a lovely move around the Pervins. He was really struggling in the Bentley because we caught up with him as well later in the race. So George Budby in a Ferrari on P1, but well, this was far from over, guys. Around 35-40 minute mark, Gregor had a perfect view of me and Pervins fighting for the P5. Gregor was always really smart during the race. He was basically following me in most... He wanted to go forward, but I didn't let him. But he was following me through the other cars. It was lovely to see. Having little touch there with the Bentley on the braking. My bad, sorry, closed the doors a bit there on him. And Gregor just very, very smart, following me, going up to P5. Well, later for him, it played very, very well, because the Bentley was super good on tires. Really important thing to mention, in normal 25-30 degrees conditions in Silverstone, the race pace is normally around 1 minute 57. In these 64 degrees, our lap times were 2:02s, after 30 minutes 2:05s. And then it was time to pit, after 1 hour, just to take the fuel for the rest of the race. George Budby, Samir were first into the pits in Ferrari, I was following them right next lap. Not taking tires, just the fuel. And oh boy, I was one of the first to notice there is something really bad happening. Because, well, Valentine Barrier in the top 5 of the Bentley, starting from P60, he was in the top 5. That was why, and he was lapping like a second faster at this point than everybody else. After George Budby find out that with the, well, old tires and fuel tank, we are around 4 seconds slower than before, doing mid 0.6s and going up into the 0.8s. I was really noticing the problem right on the outlap, that the tires are just done, absolutely done. The left front tire just gave up on me, and I noticed the problem, and I was like, oh my god, how are we gonna finish this? I was doing around 2:06, 2:07 lap times as everybody else, but the 3 drivers in Bentley, Valentine, Gregor and Pervins, were way faster than everybody else. And Gregor, because the Bentley has the biggest fuel tank, he was catching everyone by like 3 seconds per lap for like 4 laps. So he basically, he was right with me, and after his pit stop he was 12 seconds ahead of me, guys, just with the overcut on basically no fuel. So right after pit stops, he was in a direct fight for P1 with George Budby in the Ferrari. And they had a lovely fight, but it was obvious George had no defensive there at all. It was incredible actually, guys, how much Bentley gained with, well, everybody had the same tires, right? But the Bentley, the guys in Bentley, they pitted because of the fuel tank 5 laps later than everybody else. And in those 5 laps, all the Bentley guys in the top 5 gain around 10-12 seconds to everybody else. So obviously right here Gregor just fighting side by side. George Budby actually giving absolutely fantastic defense. It was obvious to see that Gregor is just taking it very easy, because he knows the power of his car. And there was also 50 euro prize money on his team for this special race from me, for winning obviously. And Gregor, well, he wanted it for some War Thunder. And he got a lovely move from George, but he was still really careful, so he still had to be patient. They had like 1 lap, almost half a lap of the side-by-side action. But then he finally made it into the two hairpins. And yeah, George just had no chance. There was even several touches between them. Lovely stuff to see, guys. And it was like 45 minutes to go. Very soon I found the same problem, because Valentine, after his pit stop, was catching 1.5 seconds per lap on me. So he overtook me right away after the pit stop in like 3 laps. And well, oh boy, it was downhill for me after. I got actually caught up with amazing fight between BMW and McLaren, which, well, it was for around P5, P6 position at this point of the race. And, well, it was good for me, because the BMW was gone on tires. He was struggling so much. And apparently, after the race, I was told that the McLaren driver ahead of me had issues with his leg, his cramps with his leg, and he couldn't brake. And, well, in the next corner you will see what happened to him. He made a lovely almost 360 in front of me. By the way, I didn't touch him. There was actually no dice there, guys. He just lost the under braking. I got a little push there from BMW at the same time, but yeah, it was crazy. And here the drama happened. 12 minutes to go, guys. I got a puncture. Massive puncture on the left front. I knew the tire was giving up, guys. like few laps before this, I was doing 209s, almost 2010s. So I was trying to get basically my poor freewheel car into the pits to get on the wet tires, because that was only acceptable to do, to take on the wet tires for the last 12 minutes. And I was like, man, I have a great idea. How about I take a little shortcut here and skip the hairpin? Well, you can see that white line there, where that's a sector, and I just lost a lap right here. Oh my god, what a facepalm, guys. I was scrambling back into the pits without knowing this, but I already am losing a lap because my lap didn't count because I skipped the sector there. So absolute disaster for me. I had to pit with, well, obviously absolute terrible. But good thing is, after the pit, I was driving on the wets and it was actually faster than on dries. Soon after me, the others came back. P2, George Budby, getting puncture in the stove, around 5 minutes to go. Disaster for him as well. Then right after, Samir getting left rear puncture at the same place as I did, but on a left rear, which was obviously, he could steer a little bit better, but oh boy, he was having trouble to get in pits because, well, this tricycle was dangerous to drive on free wheels. Drifting around for summer. You can see he was having such a trouble driving it. I don't know which is worse, the front or rear puncture, guys. What do you think? And then on the last lap, we got a Wolfgruber who got a puncture on the straight. Coming into the Meggetts Beckett's. He got punctured on the left front. Like, he has to do whole last lap with the massive puncture on the left front. That was disaster. On the wet tires, I was actually lapping 3 seconds faster than people on the dries. Can you believe it? The wets were actually at this point so much better than the dries. It's just crazy. And Gregor going for the P1 in the Bentley. We actually got P1, P2, P3 Bentley in the race. So Bentley will get banned from the future Lava Challenge because, well, it seems like the fuel tank and the tires were probably a big advantage. So thank you everybody for racing. I was happy to crumble to the finish on around P26 or something. And well, this is the end of the video, guys. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe and let me know how did you enjoy this.